Are you planning a destination wedding in a tropical location and wondered about what foods the resorts serve? I want to talk to you about that. So I had a discussion about 2 weeks ago with a bride, and she was very interested in Jamaica, but her comment to me was, well, I'd like to go to Jamaica. I don't think my guests are going to like Jamaican food. And I said, well, why? Have you ever had Jamaican food, or what are your perceptions? But even if they don't like Jamaican food, just because a resort is in Jamaica, it doesn't mean that's all they serve is Jamaican food. So I just want to talk a little bit about that with you today. Let's just look at some resorts and give you some thoughts on that. One of the most popular places for a wedding is Cancun Riviera Maya in Mexico. Again, just because the resort is in Mexico doesn't mean all you're going to get is Mexican food. I want to give you some examples. So one of my favorite resorts there, a big resort, would be the Grand at the Moon Palace. Again, it's an expensive resort, but I use this as an example of the different foods. There is a Lebanese restaurant. There's 3 Mexican restaurants, one of them just with tacos. It's called Dos Tacos. They have 2 Italian restaurants. They have 2 steakhouses. They have a Peruvian restaurant. They have buffets. They have a Caribbean restaurant. They have a Mediterranean restaurant. They have room service. So again, by example of all these different food types, just because you're in Mexico does not mean you're going to be eating fajitas for 3 weeks or however long you're at the resort. Now, the nice thing about the diversity of food at the Grand is when you look at your private events for your wedding, you can choose to have that type of food on the menus at your private events. Now let's look at some other places. So let's talk about Jamaica. Again, one of my favorite resorts there is a resort in Negril called Azul Beach Negril. Same thing. They have 5 different restaurants, and yes, one does have Jamaican. So if you want jerk chicken, want some meat patties or red stripe, it's going to be there. But if you want Asian or sushi, they have that. They have a buffet, and the buffets at most of these all-inclusive resorts just have everything you can think of. So other resorts, again, sticking in Jamaica, one of my other resorts that I really like is the Moon Palace in Jamaica in Ocho Rios. They have 6 or 7 places you can eat every day. One of my favorite is Momo, which is the hibachi Japanese. They have sushi as well. If you want Jamaican, they actually have some. Every day on the main buffet, which is a vast variety of food at the buffet, they do have some Jamaican selections. And usually out by the beach, there's a gentleman out there with jerk chicken, and you can get things like that. They also have pizza. They have subs or hoagies and paninis. They have crepes. So again, by example, just because you are in Jamaica doesn't mean you're eating Jamaican. Same thing if we look at the Dominican Republic. One of my favorite resorts there, and I did a video on this, is Margaritaville. They had a steakhouse, which was amazing. They did have one restaurant that served Caribbean food. So you're in the Caribbean. It's always nice to see some local food. But that Caribbean food to me was really great because they had some Jamaican, they had some Dominican, they had some food that I know, mofongo, which is from Puerto Rico. They also had an Italian restaurant, which was very good. They had an Asian street food restaurant. So again, I don't want you to think that if you choose a location for your wedding, that whatever food is from that country is what you're going to have. It'd be great if they always have that as an option. So if you're going to go to Mexico, it'd be great that you have an option of Mexican food. But don't worry about your guests not eating what's at the resorts. If you work with your travel professional and pick the right resorts, you're going to pick resorts that have a diversity of food and beverage and room service so that everybody will leave your wedding happy, and no one will be hungry because they'll get to eat cultural food from all over the world at an amazing all-inclusive resort. This is Jack with Vacationese, and hopefully this helps you with the issue of what type of food is going to be at these resorts for my destination wedding.